met a guy and he was like, dude, you gotta go to Taiwan. And I was like, what? And I just fell in love, got to Taiwan, and I never left. That was always something that inspired me, though, to want to learn Chinese. If I'm the 外国人, the 老外, I should actually be speaking Chinese.
Hola chicos, 我是 Adele. 今天我跟一个非常特别的一个朋友 John.
Hey everyone, my name is John. I have been living in Taiwan for almost 10 years, if you can believe that. We're filming this in Bali together right now.
Can you introduce yourself in Chinese?
可以啊。
It's a little challenge.
哦，好啊，大家好，我是杨浩恩，英文名字是约翰。约翰。
Super 外国人名字。
对，中文名字我最喜欢的是阳，太阳的阳。Taiwan's like a grateful, like grateful sunshine. 然后我是加州的人。
Who gave you 杨浩恩
My first boss. 我说我是宜兰人，不是台北人。但是我最爱台北是台龙人，对不对？
天龙国。
天龙人。对。
I'm really curious about your experience in Taiwan. The first question is, what brought you to Taiwan for the first time?
Actually, this is a bit of a strange question, or a strange answer, I should say. I actually went to Taiwan for surfing, and everyone was like, huh? Chinese friends also are like, what? Like, what do you mean? But I learned through a friend that the east coast of Taiwan has really fun surfing. So I went there about 10 years ago for a surf trip, just to try to find surf that was not too crowded and too crazy, like here in Bali, Indonesia.
All the way from the US.
Oh, sorry. So I was living in Thailand, and I was actually on a trip in Vietnam, and I met a guy. He was an American guy. We met in Vietnam, and he was like, dude, you gotta go to Taiwan. And I was like, what?
Where is that place?
Yeah, like I knew about Taiwan, but I only knew a little bit about Taiwan. I knew about Taipei. I knew about manufacturing and like the west side of Taiwan. I knew TSMC, and that was it. And at the time, I think I didn't even know about Taipei 101.
What was your first experience in Taiwan?
The first experience was incredible. Flew into Taoyuan, and then the MRT wasn't even open. So I had to take a taxi. I went to a hostel in Ximending, which I love Ximending, you know, classic like backpacker.
外国人
go to Ximending. Then I took the train, took it to Waiao Beach in Tocheng. That's where I started my journey. In Yilan, I was there for 1 year, maybe a little more, about a year and a half.
I thought you went there for a surfing trip.
Oh, no. So the real story here is I was a teacher in Thailand, and I had just finished my teaching job, so I wanted to move to a new country. I had no destination. I just had a backpack, and I was going to explore Vietnam, I was going to explore Cambodia, I was going to explore Taiwan, and I was going to explore Japan. And after that trip, I was going to decide where to live. But I got to Taiwan, and I never left.
什么？今年已经2025年，不要再把学好英文当做你每年的新年新希望了吧？今年我们的英文口说实战课就是你的最佳神助攻，由我跟 Torden 一起联手设计的下班后的国际人生90天从害怕到自信的英文口说课，精选日常生活中最常见的8大绘画句型，马上学马上用。不管是闲聊、开启话题、安排一个聚会，都难不倒你。我知道你是不是常常觉得脑袋里面的中文好难翻译成英文？这不仅仅是中英文本身的逻辑表达差异之外，还有很多人都忽略的文化脉络差异。所以这堂课还会带你进一步认识那些无法直翻的中文常用语。不过跟外国人互动聊天，绝对不只是英文的句型文法而已，你还需要跨出舒适圈的勇气。所以不只是看影片，我们更设计一系列的实战练习，帮助你提升自信，开创更多说英文的机会。不仅如此，我们还会学习如何跟外国人自然互动、交朋友的心法，帮助你自然融入国际生活圈。我们不教你死背单字、硬记文法，而是用真实的情境，让你敢讲、会讲，讲得自然。想象一下，当你有自信的跟外国人交流沟通，并且在世界各地跟外国人做朋友，你准备好在今年真正的提升你的英文，迈向国际生活圈了吗？现在点击描述栏的链接，马上领取限时限量的课程折扣券，能够说英文，能够自在的跟各国人交朋友，谈心实在是太美好了。你还不赶快行动吗？
Yeah.
So you arrived and then you thought, okay, this is it.
I got there, just the cool people I was meeting, the traveler, the surfer scene in Yilan. I just fell in love, but I was like, oh, I need to figure out how to make money here. I need to live. I actually found an English teaching job in Yilan, and I was an elementary school teacher.
Oh, wow, cool. Perfect balance, working and then go surfing.
And so I would surf in the morning really early, and then go teach on my lunch break, go back and surf, and then go back and teach in the afternoon.
Sounds super relaxing.
Except for the winters in Ilan.
Ah, yeah?
So wet and cold. Because I came at the end of summer. It was really like lovely weather still. But as soon as like November, December, January, in Ilan, like raining every day.
Is it colder than Taipei?
Oh yeah, colder.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
So you spent 1 year in Ilan. And
Yeah,
then
about a year and a half.
And then you moved to Taipei?
And you know why I moved to Taipei?
I guess it's the boys.
The boys, yeah. Your lovely partner, Torden, and our other good friend, Fabio. I met them in Ilan because they knew the owner of the surf school that I was hanging out at, which is our friend Candy. Shout out Candy. They were just like, hey man, I think
We all live in Taipei.
we all live in Taipei. I think you should come to Taipei. There's more fun opportunities. You know, you can always go to the beach when you want. And I was not a city boy. I never thought about living in Taipei. I was just gonna live on the coast. But Fabio and Torden convinced me. The real journey began of, okay, should I work in a corporation now? I didn't want to be a teacher anymore. I worked in a Taiwanese company. I had to really like start to make it as a city boy, you know, no more beach boy.
So then you end up staying in Taipei for 8-9 years.
Yeah, I just, fortunate events. The company I worked for was also an education company. I could use my teaching experience, but it was for a tech company. My founder and boss was amazing. He let me come work with him. I started a radio show on ICRT and just fell in love with the city.
So before you came to Taiwan, did you have any expectation?
Honestly, no, because the way I used to travel was no expectation. I didn't want to have too many plans. I actually loved going with the flow, we say in English.
I think that's the best way.
Honestly, it's the best way.
Yeah.
It really allows you to stay open. You meet people and the energy's fun. And so I love that. And so no expectations going to Taiwan.
Like the impression was a factory made in Taiwan.
I did know some Taiwanese food, and I did hear that Taipei at least had really good international food. So I knew I could eat well in Taipei, but not necessarily at that time in Ilan. It was
right.
especially Tochung. Tochung was a lot of
more local, I would say.
Yeah, more local. Bento boxes, and 7-Eleven was my savior for a little while.
So would you say the impression that you had before was kind of also the impression that a lot of American people would have? I know America it's really big. But
Yeah, it's a good question. I think when I told my American friends I was moving to Taiwan, a lot of them thought I was moving back to Thailand. They're like, oh yeah, you live in Thailand, right?
That makes sense.
Americans are weird. We struggle like that if we haven't traveled. But I think now, especially with social media, YouTube and Netflix and doing shows and stuff, now there's an understanding of how cool Taiwan is, especially during COVID.
Yeah,
you know?
I think after COVID, Taiwan really got famous.
And now everyone knows Taiwan, obviously for many different reasons, right? But I think COVID is when it really became super popular. The other thing that just kind of came to my mind is I had heard stories about Taiwanese breakfast. Breakfast. Yeah, this is a little strange. Where I lived in America was in the south of California, so it's influenced by a lot of Mexican culture. And so we would eat a lot of breakfast, sometimes with tortillas and cheese.
So it's like dumpling.
And so when I found out about dumpling, I was so incredibly happy.
It's like lifesaver.
Lifesaver. In anywhere you go in Taiwan, you can find a little 早安店, you know, like, because I could just be like, oh, can I have a cheese dumpling? And then you throw a little bacon dumpling, and it felt like my childhood. Oh, shout out the amas, ayis, doing all the
amazing dumpling.
Amazing dumpling.
That's also something that I miss a lot when I'm traveling.
Any Taiwanese who are thinking about going abroad and maybe living abroad, start a breakfast shop, a Taiwanese breakfast shop.
Exactly. All the foreigners who have been to Taiwan will go. Was it easy for you to connect with Taiwanese people when you just got there?
You know, something that warms my heart is how nice and welcoming Taiwanese are. I think it was hard, especially in Ilan, because I didn't speak any Chinese at that time. But still, there was a level of non-verbal communication that would go on, where I would surf with my Taiwanese friends, and even though we couldn't really communicate yet, we would like
understood.
Yeah, we like woo, yeah. A lot of that was going on, but I think friendships were hard until I spoke a little Chinese, or they spoke a little English.
Right. So were the people you met able to speak English?
At the surf hotel, the surf hostel I lived at, there were ones, like a lot of Taiwanese that could speak English. So that was cool, because then they really helped me learn about the culture quickly and took me out to fun restaurants and, you know, got to really experience Taiwan like that, especially like East Coast Taiwan, when I was trying to make friends maybe surfing or skateboarding or or like hanging out in the park or the gym. It was harder until my Chinese. Because even though we'd maybe go out to have food, we couldn't really get to know each other.
It remains on that level, like, okay,
yeah,
thank you.
Yeah,
please.
like, where are you from? Okay, how's the food? And then we couldn't go deeper. That was always something that inspired me though to want to learn Chinese because I really wanted to connect. My mindset was, if I'm the 外国人, the Lao Wai, I should actually be speaking Chinese. You know, my Taiwanese friends shouldn't be learning more English. Once some of my Taiwanese surf friends, they knew, I mean, I hope to say I'm like a nice person, you know, they would feel maybe a little less shy to start talking to me. And we'd finish surfing and we'd sit and have a drink together. And then, okay, maybe they feel a little confident, ask me some more questions.
Maybe after some drinks as well.
You know, a little pijo would start to flow. You know, now they're just blah, 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 blah. That's great. The shy part, the 不好意思 energy can kind of go away because then I really got to see them and connect with them and learn about them too. And that was so fun. We always would barbecue on the East Coast. So everyone's just sitting outside, barbecuing, drinking, and then laughing and singing.
So like, I think having these common interests really, like, of course, break the ice. When they see you, they get to know you, and then they eventually overcome this shyness, and then you will be able to connect.
I think you said that beautifully. So what I always encouraged my friends to do, and even now,